So Sultai and Teamer, I always mention, are kind of like fan favorite combinations that people submit a lot and I reject a lot. We've actually played this iteration of Sultai a couple of times in the past, and the big thing that separates this from a lot of the Sultai variations that I reject pretty consistently is that this build is leveraging Thought Scour in blue to power out these delve threats, so we're not like doing mopey things like trying to play Jace the Mind Sculptor. We've got kind of a green-black mid-range core with some Snapcasters and then some Thought Scours to power these out. Honestly, I think one of the biggest gains in this archetype over straight green-black is the fact that we get a good creature land. We do have to give up Field of Ruin, but Creeping Turpid is like really, really good. The strokes and the stubs in the board are also pretty decent. I'm slightly skeptical of if... I think we only played 2 trackers last time, too. Part of me wonders if that's a mistake. Like, I feel like all these green mid-range decks, I always feel like I just want more... I just want more copies of Tireless Tracker most of the time. We do have Snapcaster Mage, though, to generate some card advantage with, so, like, we're not strictly down on card advantage, but we'll see how it feels. The fact that this deck has the Delve threat to supplement Goyf as aggressive threats is really nice. I actually don't think Junda's that good right now, Totos. This deck actually has a lot more threats than Jund does, or more resilient threats, I should say. Like, Jund kind of can struggle to close when they can't get a Tarmogoyf to stick around, and, like, the fact that we have, like, big threats that get to dodge, Fatal Push is kind of a big deal. This hand's going to be real medium if they're playing a spell-based combo deck, but if they're one of the many creature decks in Modern, this hand will be pretty reasonable. Three-0'd with Burn. I mean, if Burn works for you, keep on at it. I have to imagine this matchup is pretty terrible for us. Let's find out. We have like one. If they do their thing is definitely far more powerful than anything we can put together, but I feel like, okay, got some spice. What format? I mean, you should use Magic Online to play the formats that you want to play. You should not, just like I recommend with every piece of Magic related stuff, just like you should not approach Magic Online with a I'm going to make value or EV perspective. You should play Magic Online in a way that allows you to enjoy playing Magic the most. Dagda, thank you for the 3-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. We are super dead here. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we have some tools. I have this Scavenging Ooze too. Explosive is good for cleaning up their tokens. I get to bring in the Surgical and this Thragtusk. If I was going to put Graveyard Hate into the Blue-Red Fairies deck, I would definitely play Surgical Extraction. Your Surgical Extractions are very good with 4 Snapcaster Mages, so I'd probably play 2 to 3 if I was interested in doing that. You have to probably give up Alpine Moon or Magma Spray, though, which feels bad. Is Pulse good for the zombies? That seems narrow. I think I'd rather just have Engineered Explosives, because it's much cheaper. Collective Brutality seems pretty bad, though. Guess I'll bring this in as cleanup. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we're like mostly dead to rights in this matchup. This is like exactly the style of deck like these graveyard value decks tend to prey on. Yeah, Green Black Elves is great. It's a deck that we play fairly frequently on stream. It might even be in the queue right now. I don't remember. Elves is not currently in the queue. It's often there. Yeah, we played that deck a number of times. I think it's great. I think it's one of the better decks in Modern right now. Ed Bingo, thanks for the 8 months, 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for re-upping here and keeping me employed for another month. Stroke Hitch, Hardcast, Vengevine. You are technically correct. Which one could make the argument as the best kind of correct? Honestly, on the play, an Inquisition to disrupt their enabler might give us a lot of time. Yeah, we have a lot of cards that are bad Bright Mist. The problem is just like actually, our Fulminator Mage is supposed to be in my deck, not because we want to destroy them, but it's like 3 mana exile your bridges. Yeah, I think these should come in actually. I agree that Thoughtseize seems medium, and Fulminator actually seems like okay as 3 mana exile your bridges. And they are like a super land light deck, so like we could occasionally catch them with their pants down with it. I agree that Thoughtseize isn't ideal, but I just like really wasn't thinking any of these other cards were very good. But thinking on it again, these Fulminator Mages seem appealing. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, it's been kind of wild. It still feels kind of weird. It's just like I wake up in the morning and this is my job. Pong, thanks for the 7 months. Welcome back. I appreciate that. Well, obviously we're not going to take the Gravecrawler, so we'll bin the one that doesn't come back. All right. Just do this and pass. Probably grab a breeding pool here since you already have Dubs Black. Honestly, I think I'm going to Fatal Push this just because not only do I want to preserve my health total, but I just like want more things in my bin so I can get this Gurmag Angler going ASAP. That makes pushing it less appealing. So if my opponent would have sequenced differently, they definitely would have gotten a little bit of value out of this. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this hit so they play their land post-combat. Tapped. And then once they put this into play tapped, or if they just pass the turn, and end step, I'm going to go ahead and Abrupt Decay this, and then we'll untap and Fatal Push the other one so they can't bring either of them back. I think we're supposed to have brought in Fulminator Mage's Dingo. If you're just joining us, I just got done talking about that. I didn't think about that before I clicked submit, but I think it is correct to bring in Fulminator Mages in a matchup like this, just because, like, we really need to get rid of bridges. All right, that's nice. What you got left? Heal. The list we played yesterday, extras, had 19 lands. Or 17 lands in it even, sorry. This is, I think we're going to manage to win the game where they mulligan to 4. That being said, we won a bunch of mulligans to 5 yesterday with the opponent's deck. It mulligans very well. There's a lot of ways to accrue card advantage from the discard pile, which makes it a pretty reasonable deck. Most lists play 18. I don't know if that's true, Flight of Whales. I looked at a bunch of decks yesterday. Most deck lists from the PT. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There were nine Bridgevine deck lists at the PT. One of them played 18 lands. The rest played 17. So I think maybe that's different on random Magic Online results, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, a lot of these are 17 as well. Yeah, so I think your most on 18 is off base. I think some on 18 is not unreasonable because obviously like a non-zero amount are, but most are playing 17. At least most of the posted lists. Yeah, Hollow won this often play 18 to 19. They just have like land zombie here. They're gonna like go zombie Gravecrawler Vengevine us, and we're gonna die. Man, that feels bad. Alright, so I'm gonna respond to this thing's trigger by fatal pushing it, so this way they can't go land reanimate Gravecrawler. And I want to push this in response to the first trigger as well, because I don't want them to get a bridge trigger. They mill one. So this puts the extra cards in their bin, but unless their last card is a 0-cost creature, they shouldn't be able to get Vengevine back here, so I think this is correct. Like, if they cast a 0 here, we're probably dead. Like, they're in a double Vengevine me. I guess Gurmag Angler and Snapcaster kind of race, but like, it's not a good scene for us. Alright, they have nothing. I'm going to fetch a green source tapped here in case we draw Scavenging Ooze. I probably should have been a breeding pool, so I had double blue. Let's draw another blue spell here and be sad. Yeah, this definitely should have been a breeding pool. I realized it like after I clicked on it, I was like, I want double blue more than third black. What's my opinion on a looting ban? I definitely think Ancient Stirring should go. I don't know, looting's gonna get there at this point. Feels like it could possibly be moving in that direction. Like I said, once upon a time, like, I really wasn't of the opinion that, like, getting rid of the cantrips and the card selection is, like, a good thing. But honestly, the more I think about it, just, like, having a little bit more variance in how the games play out, I think is a good thing. It leads to more situations which require you to, like, be familiar with more different things. It's harder to memorize play patterns when there's more play patterns that occur in a game. And, like, if you have too good of card selection, the games become very redundant. Alright, milled surgical scavenging ooze. Okay. Yeah, I completely agree, extras. A big part of what ended up souring me on Legacy in general is just, like, the critical mass of cantrips just, like, sour the gameplay for me. Kent is currently in an airport in Detroit waiting to board back to Seattle. Oh, good. So we're dead. We tried, chat. They mulliganed to 4. And we almost did it. That's true. They could get too aggressive here. IRL Tad HG, thank you for the 6 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Doke. Poppy needs a Maelstrom Pulse. Oh, chat! I was just about to lament the fact that we didn't have a Lightning Bolt in our deck, and then we drew Creeping Tarpet. Yeah, Dingo, I saw and I responded to you. Suspend Rift Bolt. Go. The opponent's deck is one of the style of so the opponent's archetype specifically is kind of new. The type of deck that they're playing is one of the many reasons that mid-range decks like what we're playing tend to struggle in Modern. There's just so many directions they're coming from, and like if you look at this sideboard, like we're playing Disdainful Strokes and Fulminator Mages and Damping Spheres here, so we can give ourselves a very real chance against decks like Tron and big mana decks. And like we just don't have enough space to bring in like a bunch of graveyard hit on top of that. So like you kind of have to like choose when you're playing a deck like this, like am I going to try and beat big mana decks, or am I going to try and beat these graveyard based strategies? And it's very difficult to have enough cards to do both. Yeah, honestly, increasing the number of sideboard cards would I think could be a really neat idea. I definitely heard people suggest that a lot of times before. And I think 35 is probably a little bit much, but like 20 doesn't seem completely unreasonable. And like these interactive decks are just like the perfect example of like, well, if I just had like those like 4 slots to like give myself graveyard hate, we'd be very reasonable, right? I agree, Karate Dem. I think the back nature on the sideboard is very silly. Unnecessary and silly. Honestly, I don't expect Wizards of the Coast to ban anything anytime soon. They seem the way they've managed Modern as a format in recent years, it feels like they're very, very ban averse. Like they just want people to be able to play with their cards regardless of how good or bad they are, which is not unreasonable and an unreasonable approach. I don't think. I think I'm bottoming this. I don't really know what we're looking for. I guess we're looking for our 1 surgical extraction. Other decks don't really push decks out of the metagame, Brightstar. Like, the idea that Modern has this, like, super fluid metagame, I think is, like, this big lie that people continually perpetuate. Modern's a format where people, by and large, just, like, show up with the deck that they have. There's no big, complicated changes that they're going through. Like, there's, just like, these are the cards that I own, so I'm gonna play them. Oh, this hand's really good. Get Whacker? I think Whacker's the least good card in this hand. My thought process is to give myself a chance. I want to take Stitcher, Supplier, or Insolent Neonate. Supplier enables their graveyard the best, but Neonate gives them the best chance to hit the second land, which gives them the chance to play Vengevine. I think it's Supplier. I think our best chance to beat this deck is to like hope they don't get to do their thing, and Stitcher Supplier is the best card at helping them do their thing. Average Bloom, thanks for the 3-month of the tier 3 resub. I appreciate that. Remember, we've got the Google form linked under the stream or bit.ly/Google submit to submit new decks through. So thank you for that. Be sure to fill that out for me. Yeah, I agree with Zambon Thug. I think when people talk about like metagame shifts happening, I think what they're trying to articulate is that people adjust their sideboard or maybe like their couple of flex slots in the main deck. I don't think that there's really Modern is expensive in both the dollar amount that it costs to play and the time amount that it requires you to invest to be good and understand what's going on. So like when people talk about cost, I think they really a lot of times they fail to mention that did they really draw a Stitcher Supplier? No, they would have led on that, right? I think they fail to really assess the time cost associated with a lot of these things. This is game 3. Our opponent mulliganed to 4 and almost still beat us in game 2. Vernte, I generally do reject most decks that I don't feel like playing, and that's why I signed. Yesterday we were close to the end, anyways. So there's a reason why I've stopped playing Legacy altogether. Kent was here, and Matt really wanted to see the Blue Black Shadow list played as well because they were both thinking about playing Legacy events. So I made an exception for them. I do not plan to do more Legacy. Those last 4 Legacy decks can sit there and rot in the queue. I told the people that submitted them they can swap them for Modern decks if they'd like. I agree. The content is less good when I'm not having fun, Magic's a game you should play to enjoy. The blue-black Shadow deck list felt really unimpressive. It felt like it struggled against both Baleful, Strixx. Jerry Thompson had a really succinct summary of the deck in his article today, or yesterday, one of the days. The problem, McCullough, is that Watsie's history implies that that's not how they ban cards. Watsie's history implies that they always ban the enabler. They ban Ponder, they ban Preordain, they ban Faithless Looting. They're not going to ban Urza's Tower. They're going to ban, you know, I think I just have to trade here. Take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, go to 4. Sure. Yeah, they'd ban Ancient Stirrings, exactly. I'll play this out, play this past the turn. We're technically not dead on board, but we're dead in spirit. Only dead on the inside, chat. You're not wrong, Mage. You're not. The people still haven't shut it. Yep. That's a great... And the biggest issue with banning like the actual problem cards in a format like Modern is that so much of Modern is just like these aggressively degenerate decks that, like, if you ban one of them, there's still 50 other aggressively degenerate decks, and like you're not going to ban all of them. So just like banning enablers to, instead of wiping the degenerate deck off the face of the planet, you just make it a little bit worse, I think makes sense. I think their approach is reasonable. This card has Menace. This card has Menace, chat. I almost missed that. Almost forgot this card has Menace. Alright, so... I'm gonna play this. Do I attack? I don't think so. I think I'm supposed to hang tight for a second. It's also possible I should hold this, so that way I can play Tracker, make a clue next turn guaranteed. It's a good thing to point out, Foster. Oh, good. We're dead. Good stuff. Yeah, that, if you show me these deck lists on paper, that's definitely the way I would expect that matchup to go. I think if you're going to be playing anything fair, interactive, mid-rangey in Modern, and you're expecting to play against Bridgevine, which honestly you probably should moving forward. The deck's very, very powerful. It's probably going to be like 3... We're going to get to like the point where Legacy is, where it's like you want 3 surgical extractions in every sideboard. I don't think that's true at all in Ninja Turtle. We 5-0'd with the deck list, and we beat Blue-White Control in a match where we lost game 1, and they had turn 2 Rest in Peace, both the post-board games, and we just beat them. The deck felt very powerful and resilient. I was very, very impressed with the Bridgevine deck. Like, it definitely ticks basically all the boxes you want to tick in Modern. Alright, so I drew a Polluted Delta here. I feel like I want to, because I drew this, I can fetch a basic swamp here. I think I'm going to fetch basic swamp and then Inquisition them here. There might be some merit to Fatal pushing this, but if they only have like 1 discard enabler, I would like to take their enabler away to try and strand a Hollowed One in their hand. Alright, their Hollowed One is already stranded. This hand is really bad, huh? I mean, I think it's pretty sure it's just the Thoughtseize, right? I mean, I'm taking the Thoughtseize. Yeah, I feel like that shouldn't have been a keep from the opponent. I'm sure they're just gonna like rip lands off and body us or like draw Burning Inquiry, but it seems like a real loose 7. They kept 7. Bionic, it's actually someone else's Gideon Nimble Obstructionist. Actually, someone else's listed something. Alright, well, let's do this. And this should be... Wait. Can I... Do I just want to Tasigur this turn? I just want to Tasigur this turn, right? I forgot I had Dark Ritual. I was thinking I wanted to, like, Thought Scour Fatal Push, but I definitely wanted just Dark Ritual. It's like Dark Ritual Tasigur. Yeah, if you have thoughts on, if you're interested in learning more about the Bridgebind deck and you want to see it in action, you should definitely watch the set that Kent and I played yesterday. It was very, very good. We fumbled around a little bit and we still just killed a lot of people. Missed a lot of small percentage points. Didn't Nassif play Nimble Obstructionist in his control deck at the Pro Tour? I don't know. I don't know if that's a fact or not. Okay, they at least ditched their Hollowed One here. Let's see if they drew another one. They hit land, Goblin Lores. They're 2 draws, though. I think Obstructionist is very good. Likely very good in... I think Obstructionist is likely very, very good in the blue-white control decks. Gives them a nice, clean answer to a lot of things, and provides a very reasonable clock. I want to get... So, I kind of wanted to go Goyf Fatal Push this turn just to put a faster clock on the table. But at the same time, I kind of want my Liliana to guaranteed kill this rather than like a Flame Lake Phoenix or a Bloodghast. They almost beat us on a mold 4 Defend Girl. We were lucky to rip Creeping Tar Pit to squeak out game 2. Deal. It's a Delve Threat of their own. I guess this kind of punishes us, huh? Because now I don't have a good clean answer to their Delve Threat. Gary is Lord. Thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. I mean, Goyf's not really a good answer. It's just a little baby 3/4. We are at 13, though, but the Bloodghast is kind of annoying. This is a legal target for Fatal Push. You are not wrong. They still have 5 cards in their hand. This is brutal. Yep, they've been the Flame Lake Phoenix. If they hit a land here, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Yep. I mean, Lily can't always hit something bigger, Ocean. Because, like, if my opponent would have had a Delve Threat along with a land drop, like, the Liliana wouldn't have been good enough to kill the Bloodghast. So, like, there's definitely, like, I talked about that. Like, there's a window where the Liliana is good and is going to get to guaranteed kill a threat. And then, like, for the remainder of the game, Liliana is basically only going to kill their recurring creatures. Goyf is all grown up now, so that's true. Goyf is a real boy now. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and push this off a cliff. Again, should have gotten Breeding Pool there. Need to stop a second and think about my fetches a little bit better. That is a pretty good one. And this was an upside to having stayed above 10 here. This Bloodghast does not have haste now. Maybe I should have done this and then cracked with both of these. Yeah, that was loose. I probably should have done this on here and then cracked for 9. I guess I just attack like this because this puts them to 5, which then the Goyf is lethal. I think this works out fine either way. I mean, I still have a land in my hand. Oh, plussing on the Gurmag stops Phoenix from coming back, too. That's a really good observation. I didn't think about that angle. I don't really think we care about the Phoenix at this point because we're kind of on the aggressive right now, but I do think that it was worth plussing her here, if only for the ability to attack with the Tasigur to pressure their health total more. No, on that build, I think the ops were fine, if I recall. Like I said, you should always go back and read or watch the wrap-up at the end. Because it's more fresh in my mind at that point. Alright, well, birds aren't coming back. They do get to ship into the Liliana the Last Hope here. Yeah, definitely should have just plussed here. Now I have to choose if I want my Tasigur or my Liliana. I think I want my Tasigur. It's a good draw. Creeping Tar Pit's been real good. It's always real good, though. They're going to get to attack for 4 in the air next turn. Wispmare is the destroy an enchantment, right? Splashing on that few cards seems ambitious. Look at that. We upgraded our forest. Mesgard Hassan, thank you very much for the 4-month free subscription. I appreciate that. Welcome back. They have a real restriction to work under here. They need to push through before we kill them with the Creeping Tar Pit, but at the same time, they also need to not die on the backswing. Are we dead on board? We are dead on board. Yep. We get a Thrag Tusk, we get a Surgical Extraction, we get a Maelstrom Pulse. Not a big fan of Explosives in this matchup, not a big fan of Collective Brutality. Damnation's fine, like, not good, but fine. Liliana the Veil's, like, not amazing once they get the recurring threats going, but, like, having a way to kill... I accidentally trimmed that. Having a way to kill other things is okay. I don't think Stroke is good enough. Stubborn Denial, also not particularly great. Discard spells are fine. Sometimes you catch them with only one enabler. You can also, like, take their Death Threat out of their hand on occasion. Ooze is amazing. You're not wrong. It definitely just got caught up when I was dragging Collective Brutality out. In fact, the lack of a third Scavenging Ooze in this deck is a little bit sad. I think Scavenging Ooze is one of the bigger draws to playing these green mid-range decks. I think that card's very good in Modern in general. To go Overgrown Tomb, Thoughtseize on 1, so that way we have double green for Scavenging Ooze. But I changed my username. Sounds good, Apostle Man. God bless. Is Modern currently where you need to vote 3 to 4 sideboard slots? It's definitely feeling like it's slid into that direction. Like, if you're going to play these mid-range decks, you need to just have a bunch of Graveyard Hate in the sideboard. Huh. Yep. Delver Fate was life-changing. Thanks for making Modern fun again. Thanks for the 3 months, Josu. I appreciate that. I hate everything, everything. You know I hate everything. Life sucks and then you die, chat. Never forget. Alright, let's do this, because I know they have a Fatal Push. It's a Surgical Extraction. Getting rid of the Blood Gas here is pretty good. I guess I do this inside of their draw step in case they draw one. You don't want to wait until they play a land drop, because if they play a fetch land, they're going to be able to return the Blood Gas through your Surgical. Alright, how do we sideboard? They have a Roast in their deck. That's interesting. That seems much worse than Lightning Axe. Like, Lightning Axe kills Mantis Rider. A couple of more Fatal Pushes along with that one. I'm gonna go land Goblin Lore this turn. I mean, we don't actually know what their hand is, right? Like, their hand's about to, like, change drastically. Yep. Black Source. Black Source. Black Source. Black Source. I guess that kind of counts. It prevents him from bringing the bird back, which is nice. Get to pick him apart a little bit here and there. This darn Fatal Push in their hand has survived 2 Goblin Lores now. It's really annoying. I know they have this Fatal Push, Tumos. So, like, I'm trying to, like, get my Scooge and, like, do something more than just, like, eat a bird and die to Fatal Push. Like, I'm hoping they'll kill this here. The Wizards deck has an awful Bridgevine matchup. The reason why Bridgevine is an obnoxious deck to have in Modern, for the same reason that Tron is an obnoxious deck to have in Modern. It's not because, on a pure power level standpoint, it's much better or much worse than a lot of the other things that exist in the format. The reason why this archetype is so obnoxious to have in the format is because, or not even, I guess this one to a degree, but decks that specifically get to prey on decks that are trying to be interactive, I think are the ones that are most unhealthy for the format. It's actually why I think a deck like Storm is pretty okay to have in the format, because decks like Storm, they care about discard spells and counter spells and removal, right? And, like, these Bridgevine decks and Tron, like, they just kind of get to shrug through those things, right? They, like, don't have a very meaningful impact on the game plan that they're trying to implement. No, Green-White Val, they have double Flame Wake. Alright, we tried, chat. Green-White Value Town is not a deck that I would play, Mark. I don't think that deck is very good. I think that deck has a lot of the same problems that these green-black mid-range decks have, while not really gaining any advantage except in, like, the mid-range mirrors. Yeah, I agree with that, Alpha B. I think Infect is an excellent combo deck to have exist in the format and be good because it's a deck that cares about the traditional forms of interaction that the interactive decks want to be playing anyways. Good games, exclusive cards. Honestly, like, the fact that, like, these Bridgevine and other graveyard decks have been picking up in popularity, it really just cements the fact that, like, Mardu Pyromancer is probably the fair deck that you want to be playing, because Mardu Pyromancer is a fair deck that gets to play four copies of Leyline in the Void in the board and, like, not feel bad about doing so. I think Splinter Twin is a great deck to have in the format. Why are our opponents keeping the hands they're keeping today? Like, what is this? What? It's just... Like, they kept 7. It's not like this was 6 with a scry. Like, 6 with a scry, I'd cut you some slack. Like, this, I guess I'll take your Spreading Seas. Like, I guess I don't fault you for putting Field of Rune. God bless America, my country. 'Tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of the I sing. Bum, 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 bum. I do have, like, we have answers to most of the things that they have. It's just like, come on. Come on. Like your Snapcaster Mage, please. Your move. I didn't say Mardu Pyromancer is a well-positioned deck. I said it's the best fair deck in the format, in my opinion. Those two things are different. They're playing a strange version of Jeskai, because, like, they have this thing in the ice in their deck, too, here. Alright, so what do I want to do? I know they have this Path to Exile. I think it's just Inquisition, then slam Tarmogoyf. Yeah, that seems great. So let's get this Goyf in under the counterspell. I don't think this is the Jeskai Thing Ascension deck extras generally doesn't. And I know it's like a tier 2 deck, but, like, the build that we're going to play later today is very close to a lot of the other builds people have been playing, and that deck doesn't play Field of Rune, Spreading Seas, or counter spells, or Snapcaster Mages. So I think the opponent's just on a bit of a brew. Look at that, I remember to fetch Breeding Pool. I think that's silly, Waffles. I think a big part of why people play formats like Modern is because they want them to not be rotating. I think if you want a format that rotates, standard is the place for you. The blue-red Delver deck, Dempo deck that I played recently, is a very burn-esque deck. I think banning things just for the sake of making changes is silly. I think you should ban things for the same reason you should make changes to deck lists. You should have a goal or a purpose in mind with the changes that you're making. Morning, Furious Squirrel. It's just like upstairs helix to, like, help race. Seems fine. I would unban Splinter, and I would unban a bunch of cards in Modern. And the only card I would get rid of out of the current format is Ancient Storings. Ancient Storings is a silly card that's overstayed its welcome. You could maybe talk me into what's it called needing to go? You could, yeah, it's a good one. Furious Squirrel, thanks for the 9 months. The baby is born and it's a meme. Hey, appreciate that. Remember, we've got the what's it called linked under the stream to submit decks through. You could maybe talk me into Faithless Looting needing to go, but I think Opal's probably fine. That's a lot of reach. Alright, so let's take... So, I'm actually going to take their Bolt here instead of their Helix. And the reason why I'm doing this is... It means if my opponent wants to Helix to finish my Liliana the Veil here, they won't be able to hold up Logic Knot next turn, which gives me a chance to resolve a spell if I draw it. I just said I would get rid of Ancient Stirrings. Alright. Hopefully they're gonna die to this in like 3 more turns here. I'm gonna hold these lands in case we draw a tracker. I love when people make statements like they know what the best deck is in the format. The answer is, I don't know what the best deck is in the format. You don't know what the best deck in the format. All we can do is sit here and fling poop like monkeys and talk about our subjective feelings. And that's why Wizards of the Coast hides data. Because if we could form educated, structured, and well-reasoned arguments, we would, you know, we wouldn't just have to sit here and throw poop at each other. Discord bumps you out. I think there's a 7-day grace period, Uncle Grail, but it does, the subs Discord does automatically push you out if you've been unsubbed after a certain period. It gives you like a window in case you forget, but you can get back in once you resub. I have no idea why they tapped instead of bouncing. Put my big fish into play, pass the turn. That's the right way to approach Magic, and especially Modern, since then. You should play Magic because you enjoy doing it. Spread them. Rude. How much would it take to make you play a strictly worse Jund deck list? My quality control or the range of decks I'm willing to accept drops off significantly when you offer 50 or more. There's a deck list on your screen, Team America. I'm not playing this out because we know my opponent has Logic Knot in their hand, and I ideally would like to try and generate a double spell turn to play through their counter magic at some point. Yeah, that's fair, Tubato. And like replaying it doesn't really have an impact, so it's about the same. It's pretty good. Bye-bye, fish. Okie-doke. Unfortunately, Liliana, we don't have a good way to break parity here because they're drawing 2 cards a turn. So, like, taking a card away from them isn't really going to accomplish anything. 6 months happened. It should probably have been more, but I skipped a month by accident once. Yeah, thanks, Ranting Bob. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Remand. Their collection of spells is really interesting. Yeah, it could be, Jonaso. That's actually a really interesting take on it. Like, they're printing these hate cards because they think they have data that shows these decks are overperforming. The big problem with a lot of these Tron hate cards, though, is just like every Tron hate card dies to Oblivion Stone, right? Molten Rain isn't a very good Tron hate card. Stone Raining Tron has never been a great way to approach hating out Tron. Tron will always be better at reassembling Tron than any Stone Rain deck can be at Stone Raining them. It's just the metrics of how the archetype works. Wow, interesting. Okay, I thought when they banned Logic Knots that meant that they had another counterspell or a Path to Exile. I know there's a Gurmag Angler on top of my deck, chat, so I wanted to wait until I could generate a 2-spell turn. So I intentionally didn't play Tarmogoyf there because I want to wait until I have 2 threats. We're just gonna get like double burn spelled out of the game now. Sure. No, I don't do giveaway stuff for Vente. And most people that want arena keys have them at this point. I don't know. I actually really like the idea of Thing in the Ice and Jeskai Control. Jeskai Control struggles at being able to actually kill people. I don't know about Spreading Seas along with Thing in the Ice, but Thing in the Ice generically seems fine. It's a way to actually kill people, which seems great. Two lethal threats. Go. We need them brick 2 times, actually, right? About to get, like, Snap Cryptic commanded and die here. I definitely wish I had more Tireless Trackers in my deck. Well, it's not Snap Cryptic, but it is a Cryptic. In my experience, Glister Elf and Planet Agent are the 2 best pieces of Tron hate. God bless Uncle Gale. Ain't that the truth? Oh, am I just gonna die? Is that what's happening here? It's like electrolyze, draw more burn spells and kill us. Gosh, this is the game where they kept basic Mountain Field of Rune on the play too. On 7. Oh. Discord details are here. Maybe. There we go. Thank you, bot. We're not dead yet. You just gotta believe, chat. No, stop it. Don't tap first. Is there a verdict in your Thing in the Ice deck? Is there a Supreme Verdict in your Thing in the Ice? Of course there's a Supreme Verdict in your Thing in the Ice deck. Can we draw an Abrupt Decay, please? Even that's not going to be good enough because they're at, like, 4 and not 3. Bits towards black-white cards. Thank you, Cannon Gear. I appreciate it. It's been, we were hoping to make some people salty this morning, chat, but unfortunately the only one who's ended up Sultai is me. There was one person who is Sultai on this stream, and it is not our opponents. Alright, we're gonna trim these fatal pushes. Gosh, they have Detention Sphere. Like, do I want this Abrupt Decay? I don't know if I want these Abrupt Decays or not. Golgari Charm is great because it can counter Supreme Verdict in addition to killing enchantments. I guess they have Spreading Seas too, which makes the decays better. Yeah, what do I want to cut though? Like, I got 65 cards in my deck right now. When you resub Uncle Gale, you have to refresh your browser page sometimes. You can send a notification with it. Oh yeah, they have Thing in the Ice too. That's true. I'm gonna trim these Collective Brutality. Someone said cut Goyf. I don't think you can cut threats in this matchup, chat. We cannot beat them going long. Fulminator Mage means we're less likely to die to Celestial Colonnade, which is a very real thing. Thanks for the 2 months, Uncle Gale. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, I think cutting the decays is probably right. I'm trim a Thought Scour because it's kind of just filler. Let's do this, see how it goes. Let's do it. Let's do it, chat. You ready for this? Honestly, the last time we played this archetype, one of the tier 3 subs has submitted this deck a few times. The first couple times we played it, it was okay. And then the last couple times we played it, I've really just felt like it's just like a medium version of Frozen Kraken, always giving Jeff that resub. Also, is it okay if I link my Overwatch channel here? Sure, Kraken. You can also feel free, if you're in the subs Discord, to link in the other video games channel when you go live there. Great on timing. I'm just going to Stone Rain their Hollowed Fountain here, I think. I think I'm in the market to do that. Yeah, Rip's very good in this match. I'm sorry, to complete my thought, I really feel like the blue cards just like... The last time we played this, I felt like the blue cards just like didn't add meaningful value to this archetype in comparison to like just playing sorry, what am I thinking? In comparison to just playing... You're remanding my Inquisition, sure. And compared to just playing straight green-black. No, not even red, just straight green-black. I'm a big fan of playing straight green-black. Guess I take remand here. Like, Field of Rune's a really powerful magic card. Also, if you just like kind of look at like the numbers in this deck, you'll see we have a lot of 2s and 3-ofs, right? So like we have enough card quality in just green black to like really not need the third color. I think I'm gonna soft stub Spreading Seas since they didn't play their land out. We'll see the post-Force Spike Land of Shame here in a second. Getcha. Like, we knew they had the Field of Rune. I was thinking that, like, they were just trying to cantrip into a fetch land. And that's why they didn't play the land first. But, like they had the fetch land in hand already. So they really should have Yeah, that's a good assessment, America. Like splashing for reach gives you the most. And honestly, I honestly think just like with the advent of Collective Brutality being a card now, you just like don't even really need to splash for reach anymore. All right. You also get to play more basics in a 2-color deck. I'm a big fan of having lots of basic lands in our deck. Like these Field of Runes that my opponent has are now Wastelands, or like Wasteland Plus even, because they're not going to lose a land when they activate it. I fetch basics because I'm at 17, and my opponent's deck is full of burn spells, and they have a thing in the ice that I don't currently have a removal spell for, so I'd prefer not to die. I don't think burn is a particularly good deck right now. So they have Helix, Field Cryptics. They're going to counter draw here. Yeah, like it feels bad about the fields, but like I really just don't think I can go that much lower, right? Maybe I'm playing too scared. Because they have me dead in 2 right now, right? They're going to Helix me, crack me for 7. And then like I'm at 7. I have 2 copies of Maelstrom Pulse and 3 copies of Liliana the Veil that can kill Thing in the Ice right now. So we're not just dead, but we're not in a good spot. Tracker drew us 3 cards, but it also just drew us 3 lands. So like, I agree, Mark. I've even played, honestly, I think you could even justify if you're playing like a green black mid-range deck, like playing Kalitas in the main deck. Yeah, there's a deck list on your screen. You click the deck list button. If you're on mobile, you can type !deck in chat to get a link to the deck list. Although Stream Decker kind of works on mobile now. I didn't play the Gurmag Angler because Thing in the Ice would have returned it to my hand. And they were very likely jamming Thing in the Ice next turn. Or flipping Thing in the Ice next turn. Alright, they have 2 cards we don't know. I was going to say, maybe we should have helped the island to discard, but we've got plenty of cards to discard. They really draw Path to Exile? It's kind of a tilt. They have like a Bolt or a Snapcaster Mage here, maybe? I think Anafen's is really slow. Especially when Kalitas does something very similar. Why are they drawing a card? They're just going to discard it. Good. Discard your second best card in the matchup. You deserve that. I don't know why. Oh, that's a good line, Rog. Yeah, 10 out of 10 should have bounced their own land and drawn a card. That would have been a clutch play, actually. If they're playing more games, Ginby, I don't think this archetype is particularly good right now. I feel like if you're looking for something that's not Jund, that's green-black based, I think you should check out the straight green-black rock deck that I posted on my website. I feel like the addition of blue to green-black doesn't really add to anything meaningful or like work to fix problems that the archetype has. It's not Justin's deck, but I wouldn't call it a traditional blue-white deck. Yeah, I'm pretty done here. They're at 15 on Eva Jace. Yeah. Yeah, I think I started this video talking about how I think this does some things better than a lot of the Sultai decks that we play, but I still don't think it's good enough. I think that's probably gonna be the last crack at Sultai for a while. Just comes up really short. I think it has a lot of the same problems that green-black does while having worse mana. And you flood marks, you just like don't have utility lands. Like this deck only has 2 creature lands in it. It doesn't have any Field of Runes, etc., etc.